What's up guys, welcome to another episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Trivia. This week we're doing the Monarch archetype. And I want to give a massive shout out to Dragonflyer289, also known as Terrence. Since he wanted to see the Monarchs get a video, he wrote the script himself. Awesome, cheers Terrence. First up, the Monarchs first appeared in the Ancient Sanctuary booster pack. Monarchs are tall human figures in heavy armor that matches the color of the attribute the Monarch represents. Most Monarchs are level 6 with 2400 attack and 1000 defense. The term Monarch is a synonym for king, which could mean that they are the kings of the dual monster spirit world. Now the Monarchs have an upgraded form known as the Mega Monarchs. They were introduced in Shadow Spectres. Their bodies are larger and their armor has become more ornate than their original forms. The Mega Monarchs also carry a huge ring on their backs. They are all level 8 and have 2800 attack and 1000 defense. We also have the Vassals, who are the followers of the Monarchs and by extension the Mega Monarchs. They are smaller humans that wear armor similar to the Monarchs but less ornate. And like the Mega Monarchs, there is more than 6 Vassals, but they all have 800 attack and 1000 defense. An interesting fact, a vassal is a person who owns land given to them by a king for their allegiance. This further suggests that the Monarchs are the kings of the dual spirit world. So how about we talk about the Monarchs going up in hierarchy. First up is Lucius, the Shadow Vassal. He's a level 1 Dark Fiend type monster with the effect you can banish one level 5 or higher monster from your graveyard, special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck for the rest of the turn. If this card is tributed for a tribute summon, you can look at all set cards your opponent controls. Your opponent can activate card or effects in response to this effect's activation. You can only use each effect of Lucius, the Shadow Vassal, once per turn. Now this monster's name, Lucius, sticks with a naming scheme of vassals and monarchs. As its monarch, Chaos the Shadow Monarch's Japanese name, Gaius, were popular praenomia in ancient Rome. What's a praenomia, you ask? Well, it's a personal name chosen by the parent of a child in ancient Rome. These names were given to the child after their birth, 8 days for women and 9 days for men. And then again, later in life, they was able to choose another. A woman at her marriage and a man at reaching maturity. Next up, Landrobe, the Rock Vassal. He's a level 4 Earth Rock type monster. His effect is, if this card is in your hand, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. Also, special summon this card, and if you do, change that monster to face-down defense position. Escher, the Frost Vassal. He's a level 4 Water Aqua type monster. His effect is, if your opponent controls 2 or more cards in their spell and trap card zone, you can special summon this card from your hand. Escher is the only vassal that doesn't disable the ability to special summon from the extra deck when its effect is activated. On the other hand, it is also the only vassal monster who does not have an additional effect that activates after being tributed for a tribute summon. This is also the only vassal monster whose special summon is a built-in special summon. This monster is based on MC Escher, a graphic artist well known for his surreal artwork that portrayed impossible objects. This monster is thematically related to Mobius the Frost Monarch, with which it shares several qualities. Both monsters are water aqua monsters with 1000 defense and have names derived from impossible structures, as the Mobius strip is a so-called impossible 3-dimensional object with only one side. The two monsters even have complementary effects. The summoning condition of Escher requires your opponent to control 2 spell or trap cards, while Mobius destroys 2 spell or trap cards when tribute summoned. A similar monster to this is Ice Knight, which are both level 4 water aqua monsters designed to support cards for Mobius decks, and have similar colour schemes and designs. And this monster appears in the artwork of Dark Advance. Garum, the Storm Vessel. He's a level 3 winged beast type monster with the following effect. You can return one tributed monster you control to the hand, special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. If this card is tributed for a tribute summon, you can add one monster with 800 attack and 1000 defense from your deck to your hand, except Garum, the Storm Vassal. You can only use each effect of Garum, the Storm Vassal once per turn. Berlineth, the Firestorm Monarch. He's a level 3 Fire Pyro type monster with 800 attack and 1000 defense. His effect is, you can discard one card, special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck for the rest of the turn. If this card is tributed for a tribute summon, you can look at your opponent's hand and banish one card from their hand until the end phase. You can use the effect of Berlineth, the Firestorm Vassal, once per turn. Now, this card and its Monarch counterpart, Festalos the Firestorm Monarch, are derived from the names of cars produced by Ferrari. Specifically, this card's name is derived from the Ferrari Berlinetta Boxer, which was then succeeded by the Ferrari Testarossa. Mithra, the Thunder Vassal. She's a level 2 light thunder type monster with 800 attack and 1000 defense. Her effect is, if this card is in your hand, you can activate this effect. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn. Also, special summon this card, and if you do, special summon one vassal token. Thunder type, light level 1, 800 attack, 1000 defense to your opponent's field in defense position. If this card is tributed for a tribute summon, you can activate this effect. You can tribute summon one monster during the main phase this turn, in addition to your normal summon or set this turn. Now, this card is named after Mithra, the Zoroastrianism, angelic divinity of covenant and oath. She is the only female vassal monster. Now, the following monsters are called squires, however, they are a part of the vassal archetype, as they both have 800 attack and 1000 defense and support the tribute summons. Firstly is Idia, the Heavenly Squire. She's a level 1 light warrior type monster with 800 attack and 1000 defense. And her effect is, if this card is normal summoned or special summoned, you can special summon one monster with 800 attack and 1000 defense from your deck in defense position, except Idia, the Heavenly Squire. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished Monarch spell or trap cards, add it to your hand. You can only use the effect of Idia, the Heavenly Squire once per turn. Eidos, the Underworld Squire, is a level 2 dark spellcaster type monster with 800 attack and 1000 defense. His effect is, if this card is normal or special summoned, during your main phase this turn, you can tribute summon one monster in addition to your normal summon or set. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one monster with 800 attack and 1000 defense in your graveyard, except Eidos. Special summon it in defense position. Also, you cannot special summon monster from your extra deck for the rest of this turn. You can only use the effect of Eidos Underworld Squire once per turn. Now, this monster's name, Eidos, is a Greek term meaning form, essence, type, or species. Now, moving on to the Monarchs, firstly we have Caius, the Shadow Monarch. He is a level 6 dark fiend type monster with 2400 attack and 1000 defense. His effect is, if this card is tribute summoned, target one card on the field, banish that target. And if you do, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent if it is a dark monster. This monster appears in the artwork of By Order of the Emperor, Red Screen, Illusionary Snatcher, March of the Monarchs, Domain of the True Monarchs, and Tribute Carnival. And this monster is the cover card for Dark Emperor Structure Deck and Structure Deck Advent of the Emperor. In Roman history, the name Caius and Gaius are interchangeable. Therefore, this card's name is likely a reference to many powerful figures of the late Roman Republic, including Gaius Gracchus, Gaius Julius Caesar, and Gaius Augustus. And this monster appears to be conjuring Dark Core, whose effect is similar to this card. This card has an upgraded form, Caius the Mega Monarch. Grandmarg the Rock Monarch. He's a level 6 Earth Rock type monster with 2400 attack and 1000 defense. His effect is, if this card is tribute summoned, target one set card on the field, destroy that target. Despite this card having one of the most versatile effects of the Monarchs, in its day it has been considered to be the least useful Monarch, as it has limited destruction power, and for the most part has been overshadowed by Caius the Shadow Monarch. This monster appears in the artwork of Gorgonic Pile, March of the Monarchs, Return of the Monarchs, Domain of the True Monarchs, and Tribute Carnival. Based on the artwork of March of the Monarchs as well, and Domain of the True Monarchs, this monster is physically the largest of the original Monarchs. A marg is a Hindu term for the word road. Gran is a shortening of the word grand. Thus, Grandmarg could mean grand road, which would associate it with its rock type. And this card has an upgraded form, Grandmarg the Rock Mega Monarch. Mobius the Frost Monarch. He's a level 6 Water Aqua type monster with 2400 attack and 1000 defense. His effect is, when this card is tribute summoned, you can target up to 2 spell trap cards on the field, destroy those targets. This monster appears in the artwork of By Order of the Emperor, Inverse Universe, Prideful Roar, March of the Monarchs, Domain of the True Monarchs, Tribute Carnival, Frost Blast of the Monarchs, and Magical Midbreak of Field. This is one of the 3 Monarchs whose trigger effects are optional, the other 2 being Kuraz the Light Monarch and Delg the Dark Monarch. As stated before, this monster's name is derived from the Mobius strip, an impossible 3-dimensional shape with only one face. And this monster's upgraded form is Mobius the Mega Monarch. Ryza the Storm Monarch. He's a level 6 Winged Beast type monster with 2400 attack and 1000 defense. His effect is, this card is tribute summoned, target one card on the field, place that target on top of the deck. This monster appears in the artwork of By Order of the Emperor, Compulsory Recoil Device, Downforce Intercept, Super Rush Recklessly, the Monarchs Storm Forth, March of the Monarchs, Domain of the True Monarchs, and Tribute Carnival. This is the only Monarch card to have been limited and semi-limited, and this monster's upgraded form is Ryza, the Mega Monarch. Thestalos, the Firestorm Monarch, is a level 6 Fire Pyro type monster with 2400 attack and 1000 defense. His effect is if this card is tribute summoned, discard one random card from your opponent's hand, then if it was a monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original level times 100. And this card appears in the artwork of Domain of the True Monarchs and Tribute Carnival. This monster again gets its name from Ferrari, with this monster being a Testarossa. This monster's upgraded form is Thestalos, the Mega Monarch. Zaborg, the Thunder Monarch, is a level 5 light Thunder type monster with 2400 attack and 1000 defense. His effect is if this card is tribute summoned, target one monster on the field, destroy that target. The monster appears in Lightning Crash, Icy Crevasse, Fake Explosion, March of the Monarchs, Domain of the True Monarchs, and Tribute Carnival. This monster resembles Thunder Knight, with which it shares some visual elements and its type and attribute combination. Thunder Knight even appears together with Zaborg on the art of Fake Explosion, and was introduced as part of Zaborg-themed decks in the anime. In addition, this monster bears a strong resemblance to the March winner monster Emperor of Lightning, which might be considered an unofficial upgrade or a retrained counterpart. This monster's upgraded form is Zaborg the Mega Monarch. Angmar the Fiendish Monarch is a level 6 Dark Fiend type monster with 2400 attack and 1000 defense. His effect is, when this card is tribute summoned, you can banish one spell card from your graveyard, add one card with the same name as the banished spell card from your deck to your hand. This monster is based on the Witch King of Angmar from J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings series. Delg the Dark Monarch is a level 6 Dark Spellcaster type monster. His effect is, when this card is tribute summoned, you can target up to 2 cards in your opponent's graveyard, banish that target. Then send the same number of cards from the top of their decks to the graveyard. This card cannot attack during the turn it is normal or special summoned. This card and Kuraz the Light Monarch are the only Monarchs to not have an effect that activates only when they are tribute summoned. They are also the only Monarchs that have attack restriction effects. This card and Caius the Shadow Monarch are both Dark Monarchs and have effects that involve banishing cards. This card can be considered dark counterpart to Kuraz the Light Monarch due to their opposite names and effects, as well as their late releases compared to the original 6 Monarch monsters. And this monster appears in the artwork of High Half and Tribute Carnival. So far, this is one of the 3 Monarch monsters not to have a Mega Monarch upgrade or a vassal. The other ones are Kuraz the Light Monarch and Angmarl the Fiendish Monarch. This could be because they are not a part of the original 6. Kuraz the Light Monarch is a level 6 Light Warrior type monster. His effect is, when this card is normal summoned or special summoned, you can target up to 2 cards on the field, destroy those targets, and if you do, each player can draw 1 card for each of the cards they controlled that was controlled by this effect. This card cannot attack the turn it is normal or special summoned. This card's Japanese name, Kuraisu, is an abbreviation of Kuraisuto, an affected phonetic translation for Christ. And this monster appears in the artwork of Tribute Carnival. Aoife, the Heavenly Monarch. She's a level 8 light fairy type monster, whose effect is you can tribute summon this card by tributing 1 tribute summon monster. If this card is tribute summoned, you can send 2 Monarch spell or trap cards with different names from your hand and or deck to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon 1 Monarch monster with 2400 attack or more and 1000 defense from your deck, but return it to the hand during the end phase. During your opponent's main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, it can banish 1 Monarch spell or trap card from your graveyard. Immediately after this effect resolves, tribute summon this card. This is a quick effect. Whew. This is the only female Monarch monster, and this monster appears in the artwork of the Prime Monarch as a silhouette. It also appears in the artwork of Pantheon of the Monarchs. This monster is likely a reference to the primordial Greek deity Aoife, whom is the representation of light. This is the first structure deck card to be number 000, and this monster is remarkably similar to Satella Knight Vega. Erebus, the Underworld Monarch, is a level 8 dark zombie type monster. His effect is you can tribute summon this card by tributing 1 tribute summon monster. If this card is tribute summoned, you can send 2 Monarch spell or trap cards with different names to the graveyard, and if you do, shuffle 1 card from your opponent's hand, graveyard, or their side of the field into the deck. Once per turn during either player's main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can discard 1 Monarch spell or trap card, then target 1 monster in your graveyard with 2400 attack or more, add it to your hand. Erebus in Greek mythology is the god of darkness and universe. He is also the brother of Nyx. He is the only god capable of making the other gods mortal. This is the only zombie-type Monarch monster, and this monster appears in the artwork of the first Monarch and Domain of the True Monarchs as silhouettes. It also appears clearly in the artworks of Pantheon of the Monarchs and Reawakening of the Emperor. And now for the Mega Monarchs. First up, Caius the Mega Monarch is a level 8 Dark Fiend type monster, whose effect is you can tribute summon this card by attributing 1 tribute summon monster. If this card is tribute summoned, target 1 card on the field, banish it, and if you do, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. Then, if it is a Dark Monster card, banish all cards with the same name in the hand, main deck, extra deck, and graveyard of the player who controlled it. If this card was tribute summoned by attributing a Dark Monster, you can add this additional effect. You can target 2 cards instead. This monster appears in the artwork of Tenacity of the Monarchs, and before the release of Domain of the True Monarchs, and subsequently Erebus of the Underworld Monarch, this monster was believed to be the first Monarch. Grandmarg the Mega Monarch is a level 8 Earth Rock type monster. His effect is you can tribute summon this card by attributing 1 tribute summon monster. When this card is tribute summoned, target up to 2 set cards in the field, destroy those targets. If this card was tribute summoned by attributing an Earth monster, add this additional effect. Also draw 1 card after that. And this card was the first Mega Monarch monster to be released. Mobius the Mega Monarch is a level 8 Water Aqua type monster. His effect is you can tribute summon this card by attributing 1 tribute summon monster. When this card is tribute summoned, you can target up to 3 spell or trap cards on the field, destroy those targets. If this card was tribute summoned by attributing a water monster, add this effect. Your opponent can activate targeted cards in response to this monster's effect. And this card appears in the Monarch's Awakening. This is the first main deck monster to be released as a ghost rare since Photon Shockwave. Interestingly, like Rainbow Dragon, Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, Stardust Dragon, and Honest, this card was originally released as a ghost rare but was later released as a common. Ryza the Mega Monarch. Level 8 Winged Beast type monster. His effect is you can tribute summon this card by attributing 1 tribute summon monster. If this card is tribute summoned, target 1 card on the field and 1 card in either player's graveyard. Also, if this card was tribute summoned by attributing 1 wind monster, you can target an additional card on the field. Place the first target on top of the deck in any order. Also, after that, return the additional target, if any, to the hand. Thestalos the Mega Monarch is a level 8 Fire Pyro type monster. His effect is you can tribute summon this card by attributing 1 tribute summon monster. If this card is tribute summoned, look at your opponent's hand and discard 1 card from their hand. Then if it was a monster card, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original level times 200. If this card was tribute summoned by attributing a fire monster, add this additional effect. Also inflict 1000 damage to your opponent after that. This monster appears in the artwork of the Monarchs Erupt and Escalation of the Monarchs. This card was featured in Attack of the Giant card at a side event of the Origins Game Fair in Ohio in 2014, along with Vampire Vamp and Gladiator Beast Nerokius. Zaborg the Mega Monarch is a level 8 Light Thunder type monster. His effect is you can tribute summon this card by attributing 1 tribute summon monster. If this card is tribute summoned, target 1 monster on the field, destroy it. Then if it was a light monster, both players send as many cards as possible from their extra deck to the graveyard, but no more than the original level or rank of the destroyed monster. If this card was tribute summoned by attributing a light monster, add this effect. You can choose the cards your opponent sends to the graveyard. And this monster appears in the artwork of Strike of the Monarchs. And this monster strongly resembles Emperor of Lightning. And this card is most likely based on the Japanese legend of Oni, ogres who often wore tiger skin clothing. And with that, guys, that's another episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Trivia done. Again, big shout out to Terrence for supporting the trivia on this episode. But with that, guys, don't forget to leave a like, and thanks a lot for watching.